kids, welcome to Stylish Rumble tutorial harmony rigging thing. Today we're going to be doing episode 3B. So we gotten some really good feedback. Really nice guy messaged me and pointed out I left out a lot of stuff about the drawing pivots. I definitely didn't go far enough into that stuff. So thank you so much, friendly viewer. So glad I have viewers. Honestly, like my 14 subscribers as of today, far exceeding my expectations. Alright, so right now I'm gonna go back to my eyeball, which I rigged previously, and I've cleaned up a bunch of like the extra gobbledygook that I've had already. Right now I'm using peg pivots, but let's talk about converting that back to drawing pivots, because they're so fun. First I'm gonna select everything. And I'm going to hit this set properties on many layers, but if you're using an older version, you might actually have to like right click and then search for the appropriate thing. But you definitely have a button that can convert these embedded pivots. And select everything, hit this, make sure everything's set to parent peg. I have to get rid of these offsets because in order to set up your peg pivot, you're actually kind of messing up the whole system. So I'm going to do that now. Ta-da! Magic of television. These are all now zeroed out. And I'll just double check. Parent peg, parent peg. Cool. They're all set to that. And the very first thing I'm going to do is hit this guy, my drawing pivot tool. I'm going to make sure everything's visible because I want to see all the layers so I know exactly where I'm putting this. And it doesn't matter which layer is selected on for your pivot because it works for all of them. So here I'm going to hit here where I want, hit my J key, and it'll pop me over to the highlight. And I work out of the network. Like, I don't work down here. I've seen a lot of rigging tutorials that really revolve around here. I never look at that unless I'm animating. Always I'm looking over here. So J and H will bring you back and forth. And I have so much extra stuff in here. It's going to cause me a little problem, but your file should be a little bit cleaner. So hit my highlight, center it. If you're really trying to aim for the center, you might have to zoom in a little bit for these guys. So I do miss the circle tool when I'm doing this sort of rigging. Now these are where they're working, and here's one of the first problems. If I pop from here to here, it doesn't have a drawing to tell it what to do. But if we wanted to share this guy's pivot, we can copy and paste this and just plug it in like that. Now it has a drawing telling it what to do, but it's not displaying anything extra. He's just sitting there being very useful. You can even deactivate that if you want to just make it visually different. A for activate, D for deactivate. Activate, deactivate. Okay, don't forget. So now this guy needs a pivot point, so we're going to copy paste. That's the simple way to do it, but you can use combinations. So I can have these guys using these drawing pivots, and then this guy can use an offset. If it works, then it's valid. Since I'm doing drawing pivots, we'll do it this way. Now this is one of those funny things where your drawing is actually working fine, but then you shove this guy in here and it breaks it again. So you can copy and paste like that, and it'll fix this one as well. So it's a little bit unruly, but it's functional and it's fast. So, I mean, nothing wrong with that. And now this guy, the master peg, you have the choice of either using another one of these like this, or you could use an offset just to offset it like this, or you can create a drawing that just serves as a pivot point drawing. So I'll pull in my group like that, delete this peg I don't need. I do need to add some information to it. You have to plug it in to draw in there. Just draw a big thing, select it, and delete it. So now it's got an empty drawing. I find that faster than actually like creating an empty drawing. I don't know why, it's just the way my hands work. That seems great. And then you can put your pivot point for the master wherever you want and deactivate that. So now we've got this eye all rigged up, and it works animation wise. It works exactly the same way as a peg pivot does. The only real issue is if you're changing drawing substitutions. Here I have my substitutions for the eyelid, for example. Boop. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these are going to have different pivot points, so I have to copy, select all of the ones that I want to change the pivot on, Control B for our paste special maboober, or you can go up, edit, paste special, of course, and then update the drawing pivot. Beep. Learn hotkeys. Okay, now he's working great. So all of this is fine. The only other issue we have is if you have two drawings. For argument's sake, we'll say all three of these drawings are going to use this peg. Boop. So now it's getting information from all of them. See, this guy has a pivot, this guy has a pivot, this one, and this one. Each have a pivot. Some of them are relatively in the same place and everything, But when we select our thing to animate it, our pivot's all the way down here. And that's because it's getting information from all three of them, and it's kind of mathing them together and getting this mess. So the solution to that is to take two of them. Here, I think the highlight and the pupil, will select those two. And we will say, do not use the pivot on these two. Boop. And now it's only going to use the iris one. So this one's the boss of this peg, and these two are like subordinate drawings. Those little things are really important pieces of information to know if you're going to be using drawing pivots. Thanks so much to my viewer friend for pointing out that I kind of neglected to tell you any of that. It does have a little bit of a steeper learning curve than the peg pivot, but if you are rigging it, it is slightly faster, especially if you have those independent tools. Okay, so here I found them in the